Hello everyone and welcome to my top 5 Wii U games of the year list for the year 2013. Everyone liked my 3DS list, so I'm back again. This was actually a little bit easier than the 3DS list because the 3DS was just booming last year and I could have picked 15 games, but the Wii U was a bit easier, but there's still plenty of good games that are definitely worth buying, so let's get on to the list. My number 5 pick requires a little bit of background explanation as to why it's even on this list. Basically, Earthbound was a virtual console release on the Wii U this year. For people in America, this was a re-release of a Super Nintendo game that was sort of a cult classic, very popular, everyone's been waiting for it. In Europe and Australia, this is the first release of the game Earthbound. It never got released on the SNES in Europe or Australia, so this is basically our first release of Earthbound. So, you know, I took the chance to play it. I'd heard a lot about it. I was worried that, you know, it would just be a bit of a, oh, you know, that was good back in its day, hey, you know, new games these days, you know, they won't get off my lawn. But it turns out, in its own right, even 20 years later, this is a legitimately great game. It's, you know, some of the things it does are advanced in the genre even for its time. It's one of the wittiest games that I've played. It's always got, you know, a ton of little jokes and references and ways of parodying the RPG genre. Honestly, the only reason it isn't higher up on my list is because I feel sort of bad for putting it here, because it's only technically allowed on this list. But that's okay. It's a great game. If you haven't played it, it's on the Wii U eShop. My next pick at number 4 is the game Pikmin 3. This has been in development for a while. It's been delayed probably like 8 or 9 or 10 times. The last Pikmin game was in like 2001, and we're finally now getting its sequel, but it was definitely worth it. Well, if you haven't played Pikmin, it's sort of a hard genre to describe. I guess it's like a real-time strategy. You're sort of a guy, you've got like 100 little guys, and you order them to, you know, to do things, and you fight giant monsters. So Pikmin 3 isn't really a revolution of the format, but it didn't need to be. It's not like this is an annualized series which needs, you know, some major shaking up like Call of Duty or something. This is the third game in a series that comes out very sparsely. We haven't seen one in about 10 years, so it was really good to have Pikmin back, and they've refined it in a lot of ways. It's a great Pikmin game. At number 2, no, that's not, I need to remember how to count. Okay, let's try that again. At number 3, my next pick is The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker HD. So this is a remake of the GameCube game The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker, but it has been updated. It's not just a graphical update, they've actually changed things about the game. They've, you know, changed some of the quests. They've made it so that you have less charts to hand in, and you have to pay less money to Tingle, who deciphers your maps, and you can go faster on your boat, and all these sorts of things that have really streamlined the experience. I already thought The Wind Waker was probably the best Zelda game, and now it's the best Zelda game, the best looking Zelda game, and it's even better than it ever was. If you haven't played The Wind Waker before, or even if you have, it's definitely worth picking up The Wind Waker HD. You can also take selfies, which is the most important thing, and then you can upload them onto Nintendo's online network, the Miiverse, and other people receive it in Tingle bottles that you get, you know, going on your boat. So it's got selfies, it's great. At number 2 is a game that was originally planned to be exclusive to the Wii U, but ended up just having some Wii U exclusive features, and then also being ported with a slightly different version to the PS3 and the Xbox. But I think it's definitely worth being on this list because I think this version of Rayman Legends is the definitive version, and Rayman Legends is just a great game. It's a 2D platformer. If you've played Mario, you know, 2D Mario, you jump across things happen. That's the basics of it, but it's very different to that because they change a lot up about it. Whereas Mario's still sort of kept the same formula, you know, for a while now. You run through the level, at halfway through there's a checkpoint, there's a timer that has 300 things, you collect coins. That's not necessarily in Rayman. Rayman, you can sort of, you know, start off from near where you died, or, you know, there's several checkpoints and there's no timer, and things get hard, and there's musical levels that make you, you know, make you run along with the notes. It's very creative. It's very, what's the word, where, you know, the controls are very tight. It feels like you're able to control, you know, very well, which was a little bit of a problem with its predecessor, Rayman Origins. I feel like they've changed up a lot about it. I think it's one of the best platformers around because it's sort of taken what's good about the Mario formula and then made it better. Speaking of taking what's good about the Mario formula and making it better, my #1 game on this list is Super Mario 3D World. I'm sure everyone was expecting that because this is just, you know, a really great game. People actually weren't expecting much out of it because they saw it, you know, because Nintendo have been sort of cashing in a bit lately with their Mario platformers, with their new Super Mario Bros. Games, which is sort of the 2D platformers where they, you know, there's been one on the DS, been on one on the Wii, been one on the Wii U, been one on the 3DS. And they're all just sort of like new levels for the same thing. But this is a departure from that. It actually takes the 2D theme and makes the world 3D. And it adds in a whole lot of stuff. If you've played any previous Mario games, you'll probably be going, oh, you know, that's where that's from. You know, for example, Mario 2, not the true Mario 2, but the American Mario 2, the one where you pick up turnips and throw them, and there's Birdo. That one, they've actually taken some stuff from that. For example, characters being unique in this version of the game. Previously in multiplayer Mario games, every character was basically the same character. They jumped the same, they moved the same, they had no special skills. But like Mario 2 before it, Super Mario 3D World has unique abilities for each of them. Mario's sort of the all-rounder. Luigi jumps higher, but he has his skiddly walk, slidey thing. But it's okay, he's the best because it's the year of Luigi. We believe in you, Luigi. Toad is the fastest running, and Peach has that thing where she can float, which is generally the most useful. I generally try and use that because it means that you can sort of cheat if your jumping isn't that great. So yeah, all around, it's just a really good, really creative game. It takes things from previous Mario games, but it's also, it reimagines it in new ways, and it's just a really well put together game. Definitely my Wii U game of the year for 2013, the year of Luigi. So that's it for now, and I will see you next time, probably for a Singapore vlog instead of these gaming videos, because I'm going to switch between them and other stuff like actual gaming videos, just have a bit of variety on my channel. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time. Leave your top 5 in the comments, anything I missed, and I'll see you next time. Cody out.